GT3 cars are the most popular class of race cars in sim racing today. But, in my opinion, GT4 cars might actually be a bit better. So let's see which class is more fun to drive, GT3 cars and GT4 cars. But we're not going to use ACC or iRacing. We're going to be using Automobilista 2. And before you're saying that it's unrealistic or not proper GT3 sim, it has both classes, and how the cars handle will be roughly the same per class. So all the physics issues will be roughly the same with each class. So now let's get into the sim and look at each car, or class I should say, and how they differentiate from each other. Okay, so let's first look at the GT3's Evo 2, no, Gen 2 and the GT4, and we're going to be comparing the AMG GT3 Evo. So you can see here it's quite a bit of aero, and you have a huge wing, quite a big front splitter, and quite a big diffuser. Not as big as here though, but if we go to the GT4 Mercedes here, you can see this one has sort of the same front splitter, its rear wing is a lot smaller, and its diffuser is not as powerful. So we can see that the GT4 car has a lot less aero than the GT3 car. Then let's check the specs. So for here, 6.2 liter V8, rear wheel drive, 540 horsepower, 670 newton meters of torque, and roughly 1.45 kilos. No, tons, I mean. Then let's go to this one. 4 liter V8, 460 horsepower. So wait. It has, okay, so it has roughly 80 less horsepower, 568 newton meters of torque. Yeah, roughly 100 newton meters less, so it's less torquey. Weighs the same. Okay, so it's a bit heavier. I think it's roughly the same weight distribution, 4852. Yeah, 4852. So the clear differences. Oh wait, let's check the wheelbase. Yeah, this one's a little bit shorter. So they basically are the same car, but this one looks to be less power, smaller engine, less torque, more weight. V8 too, but this one seems to be closer to a production spec. So now let's take these cars. Let's start with the GT3 car, and let's take it around a track which I know is in iRacing and ACC, and is also one of my favorites where we can test quite a few things, and that is Silverstone. So let's see how both cars handle around my favorite track. Okay, so now we're in the GT3 Gen 2, so the Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo. Okay, so it seems like SimLab has frozen a bit, but let's not care about that. Okay, so this car, yeah, it seems the tires love breaking traction and the rear also. But then if we just think about it, these cars feel heavy and quite powerful because they accelerate quite fast. But I have generally not been so fast in these cars, and I fully don't know why. I have an idea, and that idea could be that maybe because I'm so used to like Formula cars, LMP2, no, LMDH cars is what I mean. I don't think that they are as pointy, and that's sort of a car I like. So that's like something the setup adjustment is good for. I've noticed that generally I'm not so quick in cars which move a lot. But I can tell you for a fact this isn't... this doesn't disclose anything, but we obviously have multiplayer tests which are visible on Just Race, and that's for the beta, and there I'm generally middle of the pack in everything, so in these cars too. Can be fast in them, especially in the new beta. But less talking about my skills and more talking about these cars. Well, I kind of like GT3 cars because they're not like too fast, so you can be a bit calm with them, but they move around a bit too much and they don't have like the downforce which I really expect them, which I really want. So they're like a bit too lively, I would say. I don't really like a very lively car, because that makes them, in my opinion, a bit more unpredictable. That's not really what I like. Or yeah, so that's about it. So what I'm saying, I don't really know how I can say it a bit better than that. But these are fun. That I can tell you. I'm trying to find if there's a different analogy I can use. But these cars, yeah, they are quite fun to push and just drive, and also to listen to the engine. You can hear that engine burr. Especially this very nice V8. But when we think about the downsides of this class that I've already talked about, the upsides, yeah, they're very close racing. It's more in the slower. These cars, I feel like it's more, how should I say it? I was going to say that the driver makes the bigger difference in these cars, but I wouldn't say so. But these cars are designed for amateur drivers to also drive. But you can clearly see who's competitive or not in these classes. I would say it's quite a good one, but maybe not the best one. So now let's head onto the GT4 car and see how that one feels. Okay, so Simon stopped working, but we are in the GT4 car at least. So this one, remember, is a bit heavier, less aero, more weight, and less power and torque. But I really like this car. Okay, so I went a bit too far around there. But this one feels more planted, you can say. It feels more fun. Because as I said, I like a car which doesn't roll so much and is a bit pointier. This one definitely feels like that. Even though you can clearly see it does have quite a bit of roll. You don't feel it as much, or you don't feel it, yeah, you don't feel it as much as in the GT3. Yeah, and out of corners it feels really good. Sounds a bit different, even though it's still AMG V8, which is interesting. Let's go for maggots and buckets. Yeah, you can definitely feel that it has less aero, since you need to brake quite a bit more than in the other car, the GT3 car. So that's why, like, my only negative about this car is that it has less aero than the GT3 car, but it feels quite a lot better though, even though it has less aero. Okay, let's try and put in a good lap this time. And also let's try and make it valid. Okay, so the brakes work very, very well. Okay, let's try and rotate the car through there. And now let's push. This car feels a bit like it has the new physics, but it doesn't, since I'm in the base game. I can tell you for a fact that I'm in the base game, not accidentally recording in the beta. I won't tell you how I know, I'm just telling you I know. But still, I'm like, yeah, I'm 1.5 seconds slower in the first sector. Let's see in the second sector how much slower I actually am. Okay, so that rear also really likes to step out, which isn't that much of an issue because it's quite controllable. Okay, like you saw there. So maybe a bit more forwards brake bias would be a good adjustment for this car. Okay, yeah, so going through there properly, I did a 57.261. Now let's see through here. Okay, so that was quite nice. Now let's brake for final complex. Out that corner. Oof. That was actually quite good. Okay, that was quite a nice trip. But let me just check the times and see how much slower this car actually is compared to the GT3 car. Okay, so now we're here. I'm 26th in the world in the GT4 car, and I did a 211.239, 3.5 seconds behind. So then if we go to the GT3 Gen 2 car, I'm 153rd, 4.4 seconds behind, and I did a 202. So you can see there are a lot more players here than in the GT4 class. But now, as an interesting little part of this experiment, before I give my final thoughts, let me try these cars in the beta. I won't be able to record anything. I will just do the comments on how they feel compared to each other and how they feel compared to the base game. Because I'm allowed to talk about what Renato has already revealed, and he's obviously talking about the physics, so I'm allowed to talk about the physics. I'm just going to say that the comments are on a work in progress version because they're still in beta, but let's see how good it is. Okay, so after driven the GT3 Gen 2, I can say that it feels a lot more planted, but also you can still lose the car if you're pushing too hard. I can say the GT4 cars have become feel quite the same, but better in some way. So both cars feel actually more fun, but the GT4 car still feels quite a lot more fun than the GT3 car. So that's basically the conclusion you can take from this video. In my opinion, GT4 cars are better than GT3 cars because they feel more planted and they are quite hard to drive because they have less aero. But what do you think? Comment it down below. Once you're done, then please hit the like button and also subscribe. My next video, we'll have to see what it's on, because I'm looking into buying an upgrade for my pedals, but we'll have to see when that purchase will be made and when it will come out. And also, I have a little tingly feeling that the dev update will come out before the next video, so I will be able to read that for you. But until then, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my amazing viewers. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!